Hello and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. My name is Gail, and today my guest's name is Leigh Chapman, and our topic is the artwork that she does. She tells me she has a job in Buffalo, and she's going to be teaching art in Buffalo. Tell a viewing audience something about yourself and what kind of people your students are.
Well, I'm an artist and an art educator, and my students are wonderful artists. They communicate with their hands and learn about the world with their eyes because many of them are profoundly deaf or hard of hearing.
Oh.
So the visual world is very rich for them, and therefore I'm privileged to bring their creative side and their visual art to expression.
Oh, that's good. You know, like you hear stories about people that are blind, that their sense of hearing is more acute than other people's, just kind of the opposite. And I'm assuming you went to college for this.
Well, I went to college for art and design and illustration. So creating my own art and writing and illustrating my books is something I've always been encouraged to do and found joy in sharing. I went back to college for my master's in teaching, and but as a child I actually volunteered with my brother to keep company with deaf and blind older adults.
Oh, okay.
So I learned about the language of American Sign Language, and that people that have different strengths with different senses are still the same wonderful people inside. It's how they express and how they communicate that might vary. So I had a very strong interest in working with people.
Just just as a way for you to give a demonstration, could you introduce yourself in sign language for the viewing audience, or would you rather not?
Well, my name. This is name. My sign name is Leigh, because this is the artist's palette, and this would be the sign for painting or art, but because my name starts with L, this is this is my sign name given to me by my students.
Oh, okay. So basically, to do your name, you make the L.
L, and then the art palette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, your parents, your mother is an artist also, so she probably got you started on artwork.
Yeah. So I would crawl around her easel, and she would be making beautiful oil paintings of our family pet, or even from a photograph of my siblings and I. So she had a wooden artist box and an easel that I grew up around. And we exhibited together, and then we even had a mother-daughter art show. And this is one of the paintings that she painted first.
Oh.
But then I painted from her painting. And
okay.
So we've taken a class together that this is my painting of the same thing that she painted in our class together. So I've followed in her footsteps.
Okay. And then your dad worked for NASA?
Yeah, well, he worked for Grumman, and he was part of the NASA Apollo and Grumman communication flight team. So this is a photo of him, and this is Neil Armstrong.
Oh
here,
my gosh,
here.
He's in the same picture with
in the
Neil
same
Armstrong.
picture with Neil
Oh,
Armstrong.
that's so interesting.
So I've been blessed with parents who are very innovative and creative, designers, thinkers,
Wow.
educators.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Now, you make a lot of greeting cards. Do you want to tell the viewing audience about this particular?
oh, sure.
Actually, probably you want to hold it up to that camera there when you're showing one of your cards, and
Sure, this-
that has a story to go with it too, right?
Yes, it's a lighthouse, which are some of my favorite things to draw and illustrate. And this is the Montauk Lighthouse on the tip of Long Island, and it was commissioned by George Washington. Well, I painted it after seeing it one autumn, and then the lighthouse actually has a gift shop where they sold my cards.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's one of my lighthouses.
Hmm.
And then here's my,
A Christmas card.
and this one I call the Festival of Trees, and it's a watercolor painting. And I actually started my Christmas card company when I was 6 years old.
Oh my gosh. How old were you? Were you still a child when you did this one?
No, this one was more recently.
Okay. But when you were 6 years old, you actually started a greeting card company.
Right, and both my parents encouraged it. They bought sets of color markers and blank paper and said, well, here's our list. We would like you to hand create a card for each of our people on the list. So I started and knew that this is something my parents valued as a cultural tradition. So I've been making cards ever since.
Okay. And this is this sort of like a charcoal drawing?
It's a charcoal drawing. It's a still life charcoal drawing of many kitchen items and a barrel.
Mm-hmm. Old-fashioned
Yeah.
kitchen items. And I like that one. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, thank you. They're 5x7, so many times people frame them, and they
In a
fit
5x7
in a 5x7
frame.
frame.
You could make a collage with them in a bigger frame also, with a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, and this was a Thanksgiving card commissioned by an Adirondack telephone company, and so I agreed to create their Thanksgiving card for a couple of years, and they rented me an office space, and because I enjoyed summers during my childhood visiting relatives up in the Adirondacks, and I guess I could always read what's inside.
Oh, yeah, if it has something to say inside, you could do that.
So, giving thanks across the wires for letting us connect your community to the world. So, happy Thanksgiving from all of us at your local communication provider. So, this company was expanding all the broadband and internet throughout very remote areas.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was able to do that twice for them.
Mm-hmm. So it was two different pictures on the 2 years, was it?
Oh, yes. The other one, well, the other one is,
I saw it.
I think it's in
it
he-
is,
it's
it
in
is in the
here.
notebook.
yeah. And farmers markets are so big everywhere now, but especially when I was in the Adirondacks. So I participated with my cards there, but I also purchased
Oh, that was the
fresh-
other Thanksgiving one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the other produce. And this is a lovely gourd
Mm-hmm.
and an apple, and this was the cover of the card for the next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very pretty picture.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to read what goes with it?
Oh, sure.
So it's blue skies bright, geese in flight, crispness in the air, harvesting pumpkins as colorful trees turn into piles of leaves to jump in. Family and friends gathering near. It's once again that time of year. Our thanks to you we gladly share. Happy Thanksgiving. So I enjoy the writing and
Mm-hmm.
the illustrating.
Yeah, that's really nice if you've got a knack for writing
Thank you.
when you're making greeting cards. And the next card there,
Oh, this is a sort of a back to school or
one that somebody could give their teacher at the beginning of the school year.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's about when the apples are getting ripe, isn't it?
Yes, and it's a multimedia card, mixed media.
Mm-hmm.
So it has elements of drawing, elements of pasted paper.
Mm-hmm.
I like working with mixed materials within the same work of art.
I see that there is a couple of crayons in the picture and a pencil.
And they're actually made from cut paper.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
That wasn't painted on.
No.
Oh, okay.
And then this sun was illustrated,
Mm-hmm.
but the apple was cut out of a shiny piece of paper.
Oh my gosh.
So my work is very tactile,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
which if I can draw your attention to this one, should I bring it over here?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
It's,
and hold it up so that that camera can show it real good.
So this is actually three-dimensional. So it's painted paper. And then I created these Montauk daisies from painted paper, and each petal is cut and pasted. So it's like sculpted paper, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
It's a little bit on the order of what Pat Ekstrom does. You met Pat Ekstrom. She's the one that has that three-dimensional art where she does something with paper to make it look like three-dimensional trees. Yeah, that's always pretty interesting.
yeah.
And that looks like another Thanksgiving one. Are those pumpkins?
Yeah, well, there were tiny white gourds,
Oh,
but
okay.
they can have
Kind
the
of
appearance of
pumpkin-like.
pumpkin.
That's a really pretty one. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a watercolor that I painted from life.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever painted Halloween pictures? Have
Some.
you?
Yeah, I have
Mhm.
3 Halloween cards in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one is it's a red, white, and blue
Okay.
with a 3-dimensional tree.
Okay. Kind of a Christmas card then. Yeah.
And then this one is like a
That one's really, really pretty. Happy shower. Would that be like for a wedding shower?
yeah. Yeah. So I work in watercolor painting, acrylic painting. This one is even
Yeah, let's get this one out so that you can hold it up so that he can get that on the television.
so
Okay, now there is, part of that is sculpted.
right, the vase.
The vase, yes.
Yeah, is made from a transparent paper,
Oh,
translucent paper.
Okay,
So-
and you can see the roots of the plant through it.
Thanks for noticing. Yeah, this is a bonsai or a bamboo.
Bamboo, okay, I was going to ask you if that was what that was. So, Okay, that's very nice. And then you have this duck, I think,
Yeah.
and that you have a story to go with it.
Yes, last summer I was invited with 17 artists to exhibit in Southampton,
Oh, okay.
Long Island, in the Hamptons over the summer. And while I was there delivering my art, I saw this giant roadside attraction, which is this duck
Okay.
in Flanders.
Okay.
And I had always heard of it, but I had never seen it. So I had paints in my car.
So you painted.
I painted it live right then and there.
Okay.
And then
Okay. I was wondering about that. If you quite often took pictures of things you wanted to paint first, or if you usually do them live.
well, it's actually a combination, but as this one is live, and I was even interviewed while I was painting it
Oh, by
a news
person.
A news person saw me painting and came right out. And but I do somewhat of what I'm inspired to do by looking at it or by experiencing it or being there. But I'll tell you, some of these things I do completely
Out of your head.
out of my head.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's say if I've been around this daisy or I've been around this plant, I then recreate it from my imagination.
Right. Right. Well,
So-
you have a very creative personality, then, don't you?
Thank you.
Now,
I do.
you were talking about these books that you made. Was there any more that you wanted to say about that one? Over the River and Through the Woods. Is this the story of Over the River and Through the Woods?
Well, it's a song that we used to sing on our way to our grandparents' house. And so
Oh, this isn't just. This is a year-round book about all of the seasons, isn't it?
it is. It's a memoir of spending childhood vacations and summers up at our grandparents in the Adirondacks.
And you publish these for sale, do you?
Yes, yes. I've sold a number of them. I mean, especially in the Adirondacks. But then this one is sort
The
of
Brass Ring, inspired by a true story. And you've got actual photographs printed in here in places also, or where I think it's pictures of your family, right?
right, because one day I had asked my dad where he was
Uh-huh.
in this picture, and so he told me he was at a merry-go-round, and that he caught the brass ring
Uh-huh.
3 times that day, which meant that he would get a free ride.
Oh, is that right?
So I said, where is this, Dad? So it's a story retold by him that brought life to, because
Oh,
it's his
okay.
childhood visit. And I learned since it's a very nostalgic thing to be part of restoring and preserving carousels.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And so
yeah.
this takes place at the Watch Hill Lighthouse and Carousel in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, okay.
And so in it I tell the true story of a carousel that's a flying horse carousel that has a different kind of engineering where it circles around and the horses spin a little bit outward because they're suspended from above.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my dad was very interested in the engineering of it. And I
Oh,
said,
of course, yeah.
I said, Dad, it's actually still there.
Is it?
So in the back of the book, you'll find that my dad took a trip back there.
Oh.
So he's there with this is him in the middle
Oh,
with
oh,
his
yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
And so this is,
I was just noticing, I think it said it was him in 2010 was when he revisited.
well, yes, because I said, Dad, I'm doing research about it, and it's still there. So they went. He and a very good friend went back to see it. And, it's how the children can reach for the brass ring, because it would be like a reward. And then if you caught the brass ring, rather than any, like they had tin ones coming down this little slide.
It had to be the brass
It had to
one.
be the brass one. And he, as a child, remembered that he caught it 3 times in one day.
Well, that's really
And so-
interesting.
And so, although we always wonder what it would have been like to be our parents' best friend when they're young, we're grateful to hear family stories. And in this case, I'm so glad I got to sort of retell the story, and with a very positive message to it, because my dad would say, catch the brass ring or reach for it. It's about doing your personal best. So.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was, I was able to do that.
And then you have you have a bigger one there.
Oh yeah, this one is about friendship, recycling, and you're using your imagination.
Okay. There's a lot of critters in that picture. They're on all of the pages. There's a map of North America in the picture.
So in this, I asked the children to find some of the recycled or reused things, and you found one of them, the map.
Which is the map. Okay.
And then the teacher is the turtle.
Okay.
And she's using a recycled item to point to the map.
Oh, yeah. What would that recycled item be?
A popsicle stick.
A popsicle stick, okay.
Yeah, so the book itself uses my illustrations, and I've added recycled items to it. Like here would be the mirror is reflective tin foil.
Oh,
over
okay.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, those pictures are really, really cute.
Oh, thank you. It's a nice story. It's for children and bigger children to read to the younger children. And yeah, so all of his friends come to rescue him because his wings keep getting wet. So they decide to make him a special cape.
Okay, yeah, it says at the top of the page there, not just any raincoat will do.
And in it, it's rhyming. It will be made by us for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see a tape measure on the page there, being used to measure the wings, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So you measure, you draw, and you cut just a bit. Our friend needs to wear this, so it's got to fit. And so here he is.
Okay, that's with the raincoat on. They gave him his raincoat the very next day. It fit, he liked it, and they all went out to play. That must mean in the rain. They
In the
went
rain.
out to play. Yeah. With a little imagination, recycled things too. Just look what good friends together can do. Yes, sirree.
Yeah. So I was able to work on a team of teachers to create a book. And then
Okay, there were a team of teachers that
Well-
helped you with this one?
mostly, I mean, they created the three-dimensional character, and then I made it into a two-dimensional story with rhyme.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see ferns in the picture on the front cover.
And we used some glitter. We tried to use a lot of expression on his face.
That show the different things, emotions and things that he's feeling. Once there lived a wee little fly. He lived in the rainforest and couldn't stay dry. Day after day, withered and wet, as hard as he tried, nowhere could he get.
Yeah. So I like the larger format because it's even for young children that cannot read yet. Like I was invited to read this to some young children in Texas, and they were able to tell the story by the pictures.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that the pictures are so big for the children, I think.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about publishing those children's books that are like, the pages are like cardboard?
Oh, yes. I really would like to continue in that direction. Those are called board books.
Board books, okay.
And
Yeah.
I would like to continue my book work with writing and illustrating for.
Because I got some board books for a little great grandnephew of ours. Our grandniece had a baby a year ago, and I found some board books to give him for his first birthday. You know, like beginner sort of books. He seems pretty smart. I bet he'll learn to read really early. A year or so ago, I read an article by a psychologist that said that you should start reading to your children the day that you're born. So, for Christmas, last Christmas, I sent a couple of books to him, and at his birthday party this year, I gave him some more books. So he'll probably be a book lover all his life.
Yeah, you started him early.
Now, you have a young son. How old is he?
Yeah, he's in middle school now, but what's great is he illustrated this part.
Oh.
Like he re-illustrated what the lunar module might look like. This is 2 generations here, or three really. We've got my dad, with the flight crew and Neil Armstrong, and then my son with his drawing of what the lunar module would look like. And then, I'm actually wearing a little work of art from my son.
Oh, your son made that?
Yeah, I helped them do a fundraiser for their school.
Oh, okay.
Where you could make necklaces or other keepsakes with children's art, but this is his art on it.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's always fun. I have a picture. I have a kind of a necklace that a nephew of ours made when he was a little boy. He's an adult now. In fact, he's a librarian. And but anyways, they had somehow made this necklace where the pendant was like a picture of him somehow inside of something to protect the picture.
The same here.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah,
I think the thing his picture was in it's oval, and that is square. That looks very nice, though. I like the way it's mostly blue. I think blue is such a beautiful color. So,
well, it's water. The blue is the water, and this is a little turtle.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have a pet turtle. We have a pet turtle, but we also brought him in the classroom for the other students to enjoy at a different setting. And so he drew our pet turtle.
Oh, yeah. Now, do pet turtles, do they get to where they actually know you? And
oh, he's so friendly.
Is he really? I wasn't sure about that, you know, they actually get to where they actually like you and everything. Oh, that's really nice. You know, we live across the road, our house is across the road from a pond, and I think it's usually in the month of June, we will find turtles that have come from across the road to our vegetable garden to lay their eggs. And then they go back again. They leave them there and they go back to the pond. In fact, sometimes if you can be out in the garden really early in the morning, sometimes you will find green frogs in the garden.
We would like that.
That have come over from the pond across the road. So it's pretty interesting. The animals are interesting. There are 2 does now that hang around our place. One of them has 1 fawn and the other one has a set of twins. And they eat apples that fall on the ground out of our apple trees in the yard. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny. We discovered that when they don't appear to be around, we've figured out that they watch us. I mean, my husband was riding around on the riding lawnmower one day, and then when he got finished, he came up on the porch, and I came to the door. I was in the house, and I came to the screen door and was chit-chatting with my husband when I noticed the doe with the one that has 2 fawns, they go running past where our car is in the driveway to where this 1 apple tree is. So they watch us so that they know when we're not outside. My husband was still on the porch, but apparently they must have thought he came in the house. So, but it's really interesting to watch the animals.
We were up in the North Country when my child was very young, and we would watch the families of deer come out and eat the apples that had fallen. Mm-hmm. And those get a little more sweet, I guess, after they fell.
Yeah, it bruises them and
it makes them softer.
Yeah.
And they came along and ate them.
Yeah, they love those apples. I mean, they figured out our yard was a gold mine for them, mm-hmm. I guess, this year.
Yeah.
So you have been interviewed, and there have been various newspaper articles about you. Do you want to bring some of those to our attention?
Oh, sure. One thing I did was I started painting names of children with customized alphabet letters.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing I did, and that was after I painted a mural for three different Borders Books and Music stores.
Okay.
And so that brought some media attention. Let's see where I am with that mural. But other than that, after painting the mural,
and that's what the mural looks like?
Well, I'll find it in here. It's very colorful. I had worked for Peter Max in New York City.
Oh, she worked for Peter Max. It's a good thing you brought that up, because that had already gone out of my head. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, I was so pleased to work in his studio because we worked with an artist full of color and full of his own style.
Right.
So I enjoyed working there, and then I'm sure that I took my own inspiration and painted the mural at the bookstore. But I know it's my style, but I always want to say that how much I appreciate that early start in my career.
Oh, yeah.
Of seeing someone very successful with their art.
And famous, very famous, not just successful, but very famous, yes.
And he was very good about donating works of art to renovate the Statue of Liberty. And he would sell posters annually of a new work of art about the Statue of Liberty.
Now, do you mean they hung his artwork inside?
Well, he would paint his own stylized Lady Liberty
Oh, okay.
and then sell original works or limited edition posters. And the money that he raised for that, he would donate to a foundation that paid for the scaffolding and the renovation of the Statue of Liberty for the 200th birthday. So then I created that into a lesson plan when I later began teaching in public schools, and I had my students create their own works of art like Statue of Liberty and then send them to students in France. And then the students wrote back and sent their own art studies back. So I did this for 2 or 3 years, and it was called, I called it Paint Pals rather than Pen Pals.
Paint Pals.
Paint Pals.
Okay.
So, but having worked for him, this is a mural that I started later on in a children's book corner.
Okay.
In an amphitheater, actually. That's me painting it. So
That's beautiful. You.
And this is when it's more finished at the grand opening.
Oh, yeah. There are pictures of people.
Yeah, we had a grand opening, so a ribbon cutting of the mural at the bookstore, Borders Books and Music.
Okay.
On the island. But there was a part of the mural, I guess it's not visible here, but there was a part of the mural where I wrote the word children's in my stylized letters. So they were all animals. Let's say the letter C was a cougar or something, and I would create the whole word out of animals. And
okay. The name of the kind of animal was one that started with the letter that you were using to paint the letter.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so
there's one there, right?
So then I started doing this for families, and I still do it today. Where this is Stella.
Stella, okay.
And so I create a name based on individualized details about.
The 2 L's look like pencils.
Yes, one's a pencil and one is a crayon.
Oh, okay.
And the A is a birdhouse.
You really have a very active imagination.
Thank you. I was able to create this and then donate it to a company called The Gift of Life, where it's through the Rotary Club. They would raise money for life-saving heart surgery for children around the world.
Oh my gosh.
So we made this image into a very large canvas.
And it says Happy Valentine's Day. Is that red in the center of the picture supposed to be a heart?
It is.
Yes, yes.
It was inspired by a friend's engagement one winter on Valentine's Day. So I first made the art then, and I called it like the family tree, and I have the heart in the center. But then then the little leaves here, the little petals, are little hearts, but they were inspired by the vision of frozen ice on the buds that winter.
Yeah.
But then once I donated large paintings of it, the people that saw the art said, "This looks exactly like you painted it for us," because like the generosity of people help heal little hearts around the world.
Oh,
the little
yes. Yeah. It looks like a star to the left of the moon in the picture.
It is.
Also.
It is.
So.
It is, but the tiny little white buds are really frozen, and they look like hearts. So art has a very transformative, meaningful energy that it is also, it's like a conduit, and it helps communicate things that words can't always express.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Well, what kind of paper do you use?
well, for the cards, I was using watercolor
Watercolor paper.
for the texture.
Uh-huh.
And I began printing them on a very special deckled paper.
Yeah, I remember having an art teacher when I was a kid going to school, showing us how to do that along the edge of a card.
Did she have you fold it at the edge of a table or use a ruler to tear it?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was.
They call it a deckle. Like a deckled edge.
Yeah.
And yeah, so these are many of my holiday cards. And this one was inspired by skating at Rockefeller Center with the tree.
Are you originally from
I'm
the
from-
New York area?
I am.
Oh, okay.
But then I
Okay.
moved to Western New York. I've been in this area for 4 years.
Uh-huh. What made you decide to move out here?
Well, a few things. That I had family that moved to Buffalo,
Oh, okay.
but also when I was up in the Adirondacks, I had heard all about the Chautauqua Institution.
Oh.
It was on a
okay.
public television show,
Uh-huh.
and how people couldn't believe a place like this actually exists, and they were so pleased to be there. And I said, one day I'll try to visit there. And that's how I met you.
You know, it's really funny about meeting Leigh, because the vendors at artists at the market, it is something that the vendors do where they sell their artwork and then donate 25% of the money they make each day to the women's club to raise money. Basically, it's to raise money for the scholarship fund for young people who want to come to Chautauqua to study the arts but can't afford to. And as you have found out, Leigh, many famous people come to Chautauqua during the summer and perform and lecture. And because you participated in Artists at the Market, where did you get invited to?
Oh, it happened to be that day the Chautauqua Women's Club
Right.
for a luncheon. Yes?
Well,
Was it-
it was more towards supper time.
a
Well,
little-
actually, there was a couple of things. There was one day when they put on a pizza party for the vendors, but then the following Sunday, we actually went to the women's club. Was that a big surprise for
was.
you to
It was.
actually get invited to the women's club?
It was it was such a pleasure, really.
Yeah,
And
where they put on a reception. They put on a reception for everybody that they consider a volunteer who helped to raise money for their scholarship fund. And one of these days, we're supposed to, have they emailed you a picture? A picture was taken of some of us. And have they emailed it to you yet?
I didn't see it
Yeah,
yet.
I
No.
haven't seen one yet either. But Sharon, who is the director of Artists at the Market and the Scholarship Fund, she did say that they were going to make sure that we all got copies of the picture, and it would have been nice if we'd have had it to show today.
oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been fun, but apparently we don't have it yet. But it'll probably be shown on Fresh Perspectives at the beginning of next summer, because some of the people from the Women's Club are going to be on to be interviewed next summer sometime. They weren't able to work it out to be on Fresh
Oh.
Perspectives for this year, but last year and the year before, each I interviewed people from the women's club, but and I remember you were saying something about, are you sure I should go? You know, and then
Well,
said,
because it was a nice surprise, but I realized we are, from whatever sales we made that day, we're contributing 25% each
right.
day. And so I was very happy to contribute and give back.
Yeah, you're one of those types of people that that likes to help with things like that. I know if I had, when I was real young, if I'd gotten a scholarship to study art at the Chautauqua Institution, I would have thought that was just the greatest thing, you know, ever. But
Yeah.
I don't know when they started doing that.
No, but
I'm not really sure.
But while I was there, I noticed that, so with my art and with art itself, it seems to lead from one thing to another.
Doesn't it though?
It does.
Yeah.
And so the idea of us being there, I offered to host a paint night for the women's club. So I teach groups of people to paint, like having like a paint night. And I'm planning a few other ones this fall called like Brush and Brunch.
Brush and Brunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another thing that I do, to have other people feel they can pick up a brush and have some joy with what they create in the moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Doing artwork, I guess it's considered a form of work, and yet at the same time it's enjoyable because the artists pick the kind of art they want to do. Whatever feels like fun for you to do. Now, who else? You were interviewed, did a whole bunch of interviews, wasn't it?
Oh, well, one was with Newsday.com.
Newsday.
Yeah,
Okay.
Newsday. And so that about this. Another was, well, when I had a works on view at the Nassau County Museum of Art, I had 40 works.
Oh wow.
And
yeah.
then I also had given a demonstration early on when people were first starting to take their original art and digitize it onto greeting cards. So I gave a lecture at the Independent Art Society, which my mother and I both became members of.
Oh, okay.
And then I had a show at a local tea room.
Oh, yeah.
And then I brought my cards and things to the National Stationery Show in New York City at the Javits Center. And so I was featured as one of 7 artists bringing their work. This would be for commercial purposes, and I got a large order that day from a company in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So here I wrote, even with the digital technology on the rise, people are interested in pieces that are created by artists. So there's more of a deeper human connection, and the work reflects a timeless quality. So I hope that's what I continue to do.
Well, you know, people will tell me how much they appreciate it when I send them a greeting card, because they say they enjoy getting real mail. Real mail is what they say. So I enjoy going to pick out. There are certain relatives of mine. I don't send as many cards for the other holidays like I do at Christmas time, but at the other holidays there's a certain few relatives, usually usually the older ones on my list of relatives, and I like to send them things that that I pick out myself and mail them to them. I think it's down to about 5 now, because some of those relatives, I figure I want to keep this really close touch with them while they're still here. And so I will do that. And it seems to make them really happy. They wind up looking forward every time there's another holiday. I guess if I was going to send the like 4th of July cards or something like that, I'd probably have to make them myself, because you don't find any for those particular holidays in the store for some reason. But
I have one.
oh, you do?
Yeah, it's a red, white, and blue quilt.
Oh, oh, how nice.
But it's important that you mention the word connection, because it's like reading an actual book, or handwriting an actual card that people look forward to. It still holds meaning, especially for the people who it was tradition for. So it's really thoughtful of you to do that.
Well, I found a relative, or I should say she found me, trying to find out if there were any relatives from Wisconsin. You know, a few years back, she's 89 years old now. She was checking to see if there were any family still in the Western New York area, and she tooled around on the internet and found me. And so we've actually turned out that she'd been coming every year to visit a grandson of hers that lives in the Buffalo area. And so it got to where they would, she and her significant other, they were both widowed at some point in time, and they live in the same apartment building. Her and him, they would come to Western New York every year. And so after she found out about me, then she started coming by here just about every year since then, from when she's here from Wisconsin. So it's amazing. So she is one of the ones that I send a card to for every single, just because it meant so much to me that she wanted to find relatives, and we met so late in life that now I actually make sure she gets a card for all of the holidays.
Well, here, I'd love for you to pick one. Which one would you like to send to her?
Well, didn't you say that was a
shower?
Shower, yeah.
But this is Thanksgiving, or?
Yeah, I like those. I like that Thanksgiving one, yeah.
This one?
Yes.
Would you like to send that to her?
Yes, yes, I'll send that to her and let her know that I actually know the artist that made it. Yeah, she would really appreciate that, I know. So,
yeah. Well, I had the chance to work at Radio City Music Hall too.
Oh, you
also
did?
During my,
You've done a lot of things, haven't you?
Yeah. And,
you have a really interesting career history.
And then I'd like to thank the gallery right in Westfield. Living Glass had an art show with my paintings and cards.
Yeah.
Right, sort of during COVID, but right after.
Yeah.
They had a traditional Valentine's Day show, and we tried to do something, and I donated some back to the school to buy snacks. You know, I tried to do something, but that was some local show. And then I did a paint night over at the Johnson Winery.
Oh, did you?
To bring people out. And we did sunflowers, and I had donated some sunflower work to the Ukrainian Center in Buffalo.
Oh, they're helping Ukrainians then?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I met somebody from Ukraine at the Chautauqua Institution this summer. I was talking to her, and I said, "Am I hearing a foreign accent there? And she goes, I'm from Ukraine.
Yes.
This was just a really young woman, yeah.
Was she there with her family at all, or because there was there was a musical concert one day? And
With Ukrainian music? I don't know.
And
she said that she had moved. She's a young woman, and she said she's moved here 3 years ago, I think she said, or something like that. So she is a really nice person. I couldn't tell you her name, but
yeah. I had been painting sunflowers for a very long time, and then it came to my knowledge that sunflowers are very important to the Ukrainian people. I guess they produce quite a lot of sunflower seeds there.
Oh, they do. Oh, wow.
Maybe one of the highest amounts in the world.
Wow.
But it's also a sign of hope.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for what those people are going through.
But
I mean, they don't deserve it. Somebody's just decided they're going to be mean to them.
Well, there's an art teacher that I keep in touch with who has his own YouTube channel, and he's over teaching in Poland. But every week he features a different Ukrainian artist on his website.
Oh, that is nice.
Teaches his students about it. So, art and expression is very therapeutic for the young people there too, and of all ages, actually.
Yeah.
So that's
Do you have a website?
Oh,
You
well, my
yeah.
Facebook.
I mean, if you want the if you want to tell the viewing audience what it is.
So it's Heart First Greetings.
Heart First Greetings.
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
Well, this is what it is. I have
Heart First Greetings. Okay.
I have a website that's under construction right now, but it's usually this. It's usually this web page, heartfirstgreetings.com.
Okay.
And that's up and running soon. But the name of my greeting cards is Heart First Greetings, and the Facebook page is available right now.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay. And is it going to be is that going to be the website's name?
Still, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the viewing audience knew if you had a resource like that they could check out. So,
yeah.
It sounds like you're a really kind and caring person. And I'm glad I had the chance to meet you.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you for coming on Fresh Perspectives today. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of the episode. And I will see those of you in the viewing audience when it's time for the next episode.